Hello, everyone. Look at that. I thought I was going to be late, and I'm not. Hey, happy Thursday, everybody. Happy weird week in between Christmas and New Year's, right? Where so many people feel like they have no idea what day it is. I am just pulling up my iPad here so I can make sure that we are live because I have absolutely oh, there it is. No trust, no faith in Facebook. Sorry, Facebook, I love you. I did not say that. But sometimes technology, we love it, but it doesn't always love us back. Oh my goodness. So, having some nice warm coffee. If you jump on, let me know you're here. I think I recognize that picture. Yes, I was right. Hello, Miss Chrissy. Oh my God, Chrissy and I grew up in the same town, on the same island, in the same apartment complex a very long time ago. Not quite as long ago for you, Chrissy. She was younger than me. But it's so fun, and as much as everybody wants to demonize social media, I have definitely found at the age that I am at, hi, Ronnie, it has enabled me to reconnect with so many people that I probably wouldn't be connecting with. Hello, Janine, because of distance or just growing apart or whatever. And so I just want to say that I think it's awesome for that reason. And I love when they came out with groups because I do love this community. Not that I don't do a lot on my personal page too, but I like this, that it's private, we get to decide who's in here. There aren't men in here. You have, Betty wants to say something. At least it wasn't Barney because he's a guy. He's not allowed to speak in this group. But, it gives us a place to do whatever we want to do. And I love it for that reason. So anyway, welcome everybody. Thank you for jumping on with me today. I will keep, right now it seems like the comments are coming pretty quick, so hopefully Facebook will continue to work with me. I will do what I've been trying to do to keep time to a minimum. I will try to wait unless it's like something that I have to answer. I'll try to do questions at the end and just kind of get through this. And this is a pretty big topic, you guys. And when I originally decided I was going to do it, which was a couple weeks ago, and then I forgot to actually schedule it this weekend. But I was going to do it talking about intentions, but I think intentions. Anyway, I'm not even going to go there. Forget it. I'm not even going to go there because intentions is a very big in coach speak, and if we follow through on our intentions, and I just want to kind of get to the nuts and the bolts of why resolutions don't work. And I want to give you a process that you could do to try to help yourself if you're doing things on your own. So that's what I want. It's my goal for today. So now, and you might have seen all these numbers, right? And when I was doing my research, oh my God, I mean, all the numbers that are thrown out there, like what day people actually quit with their resolutions and this, that, and the other thing. But there were some that were pretty much across the board the same. And that was less than 10%. It went somewhere from 8 to 9% of people were actually successful in keeping their New Year's resolutions. And the fact that almost half Americans do set resolutions and only 9% on average were successful. And then some studies said January 19th people quit. I've also heard February 7th, February 8th, somewhere in there. I know that I have heard from my coach friends that are also personal trainers that work in gyms that, January the gym is packed. And then by February, it's a ghost town again. And then come April, it picks up again because all of a sudden that threat of warm weather kicks in and people are shocked. Now imagine those people that started in January, if they stuck with it, where they'd be by April. Okay. So anyway, I'm not a fan. I used to think they were great things and I do, if people ask me now, I tell them I do not set resolutions. I do set intentions. But even that is more vague and more broad than I want it to be for how I want to help you today. Okay. So, and this is really funny because I'm going to go through some reasons why they don't work, and you may realize this, but you may not. And I know for years I didn't. And I thought it was really, really funny because when I had picked out the post that went out earlier today, that was meant to just be a funny one, like pick your birth month and it tells you what you have to give up for your resolutions or what your resolution is. And I didn't put the two together until I commented mine. And I'm like, oh my God. So if you looked at those 12 resolutions, you guys, 10 of them were all negative based. So they either said no, stop, or give up. 10 out of 12. Isn't that awful? That's crap. So here's the thing. How we word things has a huge impact on whether or not we do them or not. So when you say you're going to stop eating junk food or stop wasting money, all you think about to try to hit this resolution is the junk food or the wasting money. Does that make sense, you guys? How we word things is so very important to what outcome we are going to get. And it's why those of you, and Janine can tell you, she's one of my clients, and those of you that have been in the group long enough, you know that, like, I never talk about what you can't have, because the minute you say you can't have something or know something, all you do is think about that thing. It's human nature. It's just how we do things. It's not anything wrong with your brain. It just means you have a nice, normal human brain. So be really careful with that. Like, stop drinking, stop overeating, stop this, stop that. I'm not saying that what follows the stop or the no isn't something we might want to reduce, but that's not the way to go about it. Does that make sense, you guys? So that's the first thing that one of the first reasons, one of the number one reasons that resolutions fail. Let me know what you think about that one. Now, here is the other really big one, and I already started to touch on this, I think yesterday in the live I did. It's not specific enough, okay? So exercise more, lose weight, cut back, eat healthier, stay on track. Those are really big ways, you guys, to set yourself up for failure, because there is no way for you to mark your progress. And it's really not, if you can't check in on your progress, you've got nothing to celebrate. And you also don't know where you might need to course correct to actually keep yourself on track for whatever that big goal might be. Does that make sense? Does that make sense, you guys? So making your goal specific is really, really important. I'm going to go into this more a little bit down when we talk about what to do instead. But I just want you to realize and just think about how many times you might say that. And even, we use social media, cut back on social media. Well, what does that actually mean? How do you know if you're doing it? How do you know if you're not doing it? Right? Is that making sense, you guys? Okay. So here's the other thing. It is much easier to drop out or walk away when you set very, very vague goals or resolutions. When it's really detailed and really specific, it's a lot harder to walk away from it. Okay. And, I work with my clients. One of the first things we do is we do set SMART goals. They need to be specific. They need to be, why do I do this? It's just left my brain. Oh my God, I know my SMART goals. Achievable, relevant, time-bound, measurable. Thank you. Oh my God. So, okay. And that way we know where we're going. Hi, Jackie. Okay. So we're going to talk about breaking those down even more. But again, think about it. I want to lose weight. I want to reduce my menopause symptoms. Those are all very vague, right? So, okay. Now, here's the other thing that causes resolutions to fail for many people is the resolution isn't anything about you, right? It doesn't reflect what you really want. And a lot of that comes down to diets and exercise trends, right? Like, so maybe everybody in your family is going on keto for January 1st. And you're like, okay, well, I guess I'm going to do it. Well, how likely are you going to be to stick to that? Well, I don't want you doing it anyway, but if it's not really about you and what you wanted to do, right? Your goals need to be for yourself. They don't need to be influenced by your friends, by your family, what you might see in society, right? Like, you have to do the things that work for you. If everybody, all your female friends have decided to join Planet Fitness come January 1st and you hate going to the gym, why would you do that, right? I'm not saying you don't need to exercise, but if the gym isn't your place, then why are you trying to force yourself to do it? And how long do you think you're actually going to keep doing it, right? Making sense, you guys? Nobody's saying much. So, okay. Now, here's another one that we throw in there. You make a resolutions because it's what you think you should do. Now, those of you that are my clients, you know I hate the word should, right? Whether it's start exercising, eat healthfully, make more of a work-life balance. Now, stop smoking. They all sound great. Stop drinking, right? And they're all very negative, right? But if it's based on what you think you should be doing rather than what you really want to be doing, okay? So now you might be thinking, well, I really want to eat pizza. I don't want to eat broccoli. And that might be the case at this stage in the game. But when and we're going to do this in just a couple minutes, when you look at your end result and broccoli is what's going to get you to your end result and you know why you want your end result, broccoli becomes a lot more attractive. Does that make sense? So I'm not saying that just because you don't think you want to do it isn't mean it's part of it. But if other people are dictating to you what you should and shouldn't do for your resolutions, like just like if you were reading a magazine article and it said like get fit by summer, and what if you're happy with where your body's at and your health is okay, then you don't need to do that. Does that make sense? I think that's better. I wasn't wording that very well, so I apologize. Okay, next one is there's no motivation and there's no commitment. Okay, so one of the big reasons is you're trying to do something that doesn't mean anything to you and you're trying to make it happen. If your resolution doesn't have a foundation of meaning and personal relevance for you, it's a great way to run out of steam, you guys. Now, in the beginning, you might have an initial burst of a motivation that gets you started, but it's never going to last. And motivation is like just a big rocket, right? It gives you initial spurt of energy, but it's not sustainable. Motivation, if you're waiting around for motivation, you're going to be waiting for a long time. What you need is something more fundamental, more essential, and more important to you. What you need is something that comes from the inside, something that's based on what's important and what matters to you. And we're going to get into that in just a minute too. Okay. I don't know if I really want to. So, another one that did come up is the timing's wrong. Coming off the holidays, and this is like if you are basing it all on summer, but this does have an important point. This is why I wanted to include it. One of the reasons I don't like resolutions, you guys, is because they don't set you up, right? So here you are, you've just been through this holiday 5-week feeding frenzy, as we might want to call it, from Thanksgiving to Christmas to New Year's, right? And then all of a sudden here, you're supposed to wake up on January 1st and do completely different things. You've set no foundation. You've not increased incrementally the things, the habits, the behaviors that you need to be doing. You're just supposed to wake up and think you're going to change everything. And this is the other big thing, and I don't even think I put this in here, but in my opinion, is that people try to change everything overnight. And that never, ever, ever works. Even in my program, we add things each and every week. We add on. It's not like first week we change everything. And it kind of goes in line with this thing. The other reason I don't like them is because why are we waiting for January 1st for a particular day to make a decision about something that's going to affect us for the rest of our life? There are 364 other days of the year that are equally great decision-making days that are available to you. And if you really want something, and I know some of you out there do. Now, we're so close now that I get it why you'd wait, but why do we choose to, in October, I'll just start it in January 1st? That puts you 3 months behind where you would be had you started then. Anyway, so we can't go back in time, so I'm not going to go on that. Okay, and the other reason, and this kind of goes into where we're going to go next, that these resolutions all fail, is that because to have the results, you've got to change your habits, okay? It's either making new habits or changing your existing ones. And if your resolutions are around those vague things like eating healthier, exercising more, drinking less, quitting smoking, texting less, spending more time unplugged, or any number of these automatic behaviors, then we're talking about changing existing habits or making new habits. And habits, so much of what we do are automatic. They are conditioned responses, right? You think about driving. You don't even think about your drive to work. You do it automatically. You get up in the morning and maybe my East Coast friends, you get up in the morning and maybe you stop at Dunkin' every single day. And half the time you're in the drive-thru before you're like, wow, here I am at Dunkin' Donuts. And maybe you get a donut every single day. You haven't even checked in. You have no idea if you're even hungry, but this is what you do. You get coffee and you get a donut every single day, right? Or you get home at the end of your workday and you grab a beer and you sit down on the couch and you turn TV on. A lot of these things are very habituated, very automatic behaviors. Now, here is the thing. It's not hard to change habits, but it does need to be done so based on science, right? And that's one of the things, that's kind of one of my superpowers. I'm like the master of habit change. That's what I learned, is how to help you. It's what I learned when I learned to be a coach, so I can help you learn to change your habits. You have to create a new one. And one of the most important things I do with my clients is we focus on bringing in the new habits as opposed to stopping the old habits, because it is so much easier to focus on this new one than to focus on stopping this other one. And there's all sorts of methods we can do with the habits that we already exist. So we can do habit stacking. We can change our triggers and our cues. And I'm not going to go into all of that. But that's another reason, again, why just thinking you're going to wake up on January 1st, or I even know a lot of people, because they drink on New Year's Eve, they go with January 2nd, thinking you can just make this change overnight. And here is one of the biggest problems, is you take this big goal of losing weight and you never chunk it down. And that's something else I do with all my clients. You have to take a big goal and chunk it down, okay, into small chunks that you can start and then move on to the next one, and then move on to the next one, and then move on to the next one. Does that make sense? Usually stacking them on top of each other, adding on, right? Because if you want to lose 30 pounds, if you want to lose 40 pounds, if you want to lose 50 pounds, it's not going to happen overnight. And if it does, it's never going to last. So you shouldn't want that, because that means you're just going to have to do it again. And you need to take a goal like let's just take the first one I said, lose 50 pounds. And actually, I'm getting ahead of myself because this is what we're going to do in just a second. But you got to chunk it down. What are all the things I need to do to lose 50 pounds? I need to drink more water. I need to get an exercise plan in place. I need to change the foods that I'm eating. I need to change how I eat my foods. I need to reduce my stress, right? I could go on and on and on. So there's lots of things that are involved, say, with weight loss. If we want to, we can use the same thing. If you want to reduce how your menopause symptoms increase your energy, sleep better, right? So a lot of the same things will go in there, but a lot of that comes down to, do you have a good sleep routine? Let's incorporate a sleep routine. Let's incorporate more meditation, more stress-reducing activities in your day, every day. Now, are you going to wake up and do all of that on January 2nd? No. You got to chunk it all down. You got to start, and you got to add, and you got to add, and you got to add. Does that make sense, you guys? Hopefully. Here's the other thing that resolutions do not even talk about. And then we're going to talk about what to do instead. You got to get into your own stories that you have going on, okay? Because we all have them. And stories are just sentences that go round and round in our brain. They're just thoughts. But a lot of our stories, our beliefs, we have a tendency to look through our entire life through this lens that it is an absolute fact. And I'm not going to go into too much on the brain science today, but just because you think something does not make it a fact. If you're thinking to yourself, if your story that you've got operating in the background all the time is that it's hard to lose weight, that's going to have a powerful influence on all your decisions and all of your actions. So we make decisions on a minute by minute basis based on stories that may be running the show in your head that have been going on since you were a kid, right? And sometimes you're aware of them and sometimes you are not. And we look out at the world through this lens of our own self stories. If your story is, I'm a perfectionist, if you are looking through all of your behaviors through this lens of things must be perfect, I'm a perfectionist, and you don't do them perfect, do you see how that can set you up to fail? Because that's where kind of that all or nothing thinking might come in, right? And you'll be like, well, I didn't do today perfect. Who cares? Let's just go off, right? You really need to know what's going on in your own brain. And sometimes our stories are what's stopping us from achieving the things we want. Sometimes we don't realize it, but we have created in our mind what we believe to be our brain believes to be a really valid reason for why we shouldn't achieve something, okay? So if you really want to change behaviors and you want the change to actually stick, then you have got to understand your story that you've got going on. What is your operating system telling you, right? And that's what is missing from every single diet plan you have ever done, and why they're so hard to stick to, and why I'm not even going to go there. But anyway, that is a really, really, really important, vital piece of whether or not you hit your goals or not. And this is, even if it's just not around weight loss, this can be about anything in your life. If you don't know what your operating story, and I will be very honest, my operating story, and I still have, I have to work on it daily, because it was so ingrained in my brain, was that I wasn't good enough. I wasn't worthy. And it is something, I'm very good now at, I catch it. And when that thought comes up, I just kind of laugh at it. Hey, isn't that funny? Look at that old operating system still trying to tell me that. Man, I'm not going with that. Especially when it comes to worthiness. We are all born worthy. Nothing you can do can increase it or decrease it. You can tell I've said that a lot, right? But, how we feel about ourselves isn't something, when I was growing up, we were taught to dive into a lot. And let me tell you, I spent a lot of time diving into it now for myself and with my clients, because it is such an integral piece of us getting to what we want. Okay, so now I want to take you through what I recommend you do instead of these silly, flimsy, not gonna work, only 9% of the people are ever successful with resolutions. Okay, now I don't know if you're on my email list, you saw my email this morning. I asked a question. So I want you all, if you're not driving, Janina, I think you might be driving, so don't you do it. But I want you to close your eyes and I want you to think 6 months, or the example I used in my email I said this morning, a year in the future. How would you feel if everything is exactly the same as it is right now, 1 year from now? I would imagine a lot of you probably don't want that to be the case. So now I want you to do a little visualization with me here. Stick with me, you guys. There has been nothing that's held you back. You have hit all the health goals you want. You've lost the menopause weight. You've worked through the anxiety. You have less menopause symptoms. You know how to eat in a way that like feels good in your body, but you don't feel deprived, and you lose the pounds. What does it look like? What do you feel like when you are that person who has achieved those goals? How does it feel in your body? Like when you look at that, oh my God, who's done that? What do you feel? Do you feel pride? Do you feel excited? Are you like, I don't know. Those are what all the ones I have. Now, keep this picture in your mind, you guys. Keep it there, okay? We always need to be looking ahead when it comes to our health, and especially our aging process. You know, if you're over the age of 40, we always want to be striving to be healthier because it just gets harder as we get older. And every action that we take should be taking us to that vision in your head. That's the you that gets to run around after your grandchildren. The you that still gets to go on bike rides, right? That has the energy to do the things that you want to do. Yes, Jackie. So glad you said that was powerful. Okay? All the things that a healthy person gets to do. Maybe, and this was one of my clients the other night, we've been changing up because exercise has always been a challenge for her. And we are embodying the thoughts of being a runner and doing training. And she used to be a runner. So it's not something that's way weird. But she said one of the most amazing things yesterday, because I had consistent exercise this week and thinking about doing her training as a runner. I said, how does it make you feel? And she said, it makes me feel like I could do a 5K this summer. And oh my God, my heart almost burst out of my chest because I know how important that is to her. Oh my goodness, like how would it feel if you used to be a runner and you felt like you could sign up for a 5K? Okay. So if we're, Betty, if we're constantly thinking that every action we do is taking us to this vision in the head, this is called reverse engineering. And this is how I like to look at it. If we constantly keep the end goal in mind, we can then hold ourselves accountable for our day-to-day actions and habits. Now, here's the thing. Most people will stop right here. Now, most people won't even do the visualization part. And most people won't feel into what it's going to feel like. And when we get to the second part of this, you're going to understand why I asked you to really step into what it feels like. Janine knows. But you need to reverse engineer it. What habits do I need to implement to get to that? Okay. How consistently do I need to do A? What should my food choices look like to get me there, right? What are the habits of a person who's achieved those goals? Does this all make sense, you guys? It's such a more powerful way to get things moving in the direction that you want. Now, like whenever you have a goal, like say weight loss, again, I mean, looking at it like I am going to eat 80% of my meals at home so that I can control what's going into my body. That's a great way to start to get to the point of weight. If you're someone who eats out a lot, right? I am going to consistently exercise for 20 minutes, 4 times a week for the next 16 weeks. I don't know, whatever it may, those are some of the steps you would have to take to get to that end result. And I mentioned some of them earlier. You got to be drinking water. You got to be getting better sleep, right? I'm not going to go through all of those. But we want to go from the finish to the start and do this reverse engineering. So here I am at the end. Here's how I feel. Here's how I look. What did I do to get me here? Okay. And it is the most logical way to get there. Even though I know you think start to finish is the way to go, right? But when you try to go from start to finish, most people grossly underestimate the amount of time it's going to get to reach a goal, right? And we have a tendency to set it in an unrealistic way, okay? We calculate the timing based on the best possible outcome. We incorporate wishful thinking, and we have no gauge for how long it should actually take. But when we reverse engineer, we have to make room for error and for time and start by doubling or tripling the time you think it might take to get you there. It makes you get real with yourself, because one step of this is what I just said, visualizing your perfect picture. I don't even like the word perfect. Your picture of health. What are the habits to get me there? What are the obstacles I am going to hit along the way? One of the last questions I ask my clients in every single session, no matter what we are implementing, is what's going to get in the way of you sticking to these action steps? And this is something that, again, these diets are not teaching you guys, and a resolution isn't teaching you. Obstacles, and if we lived in a vacuum, it'd be great and there would be no obstacles, but and you all want to say that life gets in the way. Well, then we got to start preparing for life to get in the way, right? And let me tell you, using the excuse of life getting in the way, but when you can picture yourself in 6 months having the result that you want, it's a lot easier to not let life get in the way. It's a lot easier to keep it on the higher end of your priority list. Is this all making sense, you guys? Okay, so let me just see. Yeah. Okay. So what goes into this that's just as important as this reverse engineering is knowing your why. So it's great if you know what you want, but if you don't know why you want it, it's going to be really hard to stick to it. Because I'm making this sound like it is all so easy, but change is not always easy. It's simple, but it's not always easy, right? There are going to be times where you are faced with pizza and beer and salad and water, and you get to decide, right? And there is no right or wrong answer to that choice right there, but maybe it's a day where you have decided it's salad and water, and you're going to stick to your own decision. That's not always going to be easy. But when you know why you want it, it's a lot easier to make the decision that's in alignment, that has that end result in mind. Do you want to be a positive example for your family members? For whether it's I have a lot of clients who have daughters with some food issues and with weight and body images, right? Maybe you want to be an example for them. Maybe you want to be able to get down on the floor and run around with your grandchildren, right? Maybe you want to spice things up in the bedroom because you're not feeling confident and sexy in your own body, or confident and sexy when you put on outfits. What your age is. Sorry, I thought I hung up on you guys. I was trying to hang up on a call coming through. It doesn't matter what your age is. You get to be that. Maybe you want to have more clarity and more energy and more focus. So that carries over into every single aspect of your life. And the difference that would make. Imagine that. Close your eyes again. If any of those hit for you, close your eyes and think about you being the person that has this increased energy, that wakes up and feels ready to seize the day, whether you're still working, you're retired, you want to go out and hike, you want to go walk your dog, you want to be like me and still be snowboarding when you're 80 years old. All of that is within your power. It's within your reach, you guys. You just have to decide you want it and make a plan to get there. Resolutions don't have plans. There's no action steps to get you there. Sorry, getting a little excited there, but you know what I mean. And here's the thing. And I mentioned this already, but like waking up on January 1st or January 2nd and trying to change everything is going to backfire. I mean, at best, most people might be able to stick to things for a few days. It's the small 1% shifts that you do every day. Those are what makes the impact. And I'm trying to think of, what is that? Was it a ship or was it a plane? I think it works with both of them. I think I've used both of them before. But if you think about when a boat starts, right, and it maps its destination, it goes by longitude and latitude, right, and it's degrees. If we start with one destination and that, oh God, I'm gonna get it wrong, but I think you guys are gonna know where I'm gonna go. If we change that trajectory by 1%, I think over the course of a year, it changes by 33% or something. I don't know. I'm getting the quote all messed up. I should have looked for it. I didn't think about it till we were going here. But stop thinking it's got to be such big things, you guys. I mean, in the first week, one of the action steps I give my clients, you guys, is to put their fork down in between bites. Now, you might think that seems like such a minuscule thing, like it can't be that important. But that little thing has a huge impact. And it sets the foundation for what we're going to do the next week and the next week, getting ourselves to the point where we start to slow down our eating, because that affects how much weight we hold, our cortisol, our digestion, all of those things. Does that make sense? I mean, it seems like that's so darn little. I have a client who didn't think sleep had anything to do with it, and we changed up a sleep routine, and oh my God. Hi, Janine. But there are so many little things that have such a huge impact over time. And one of the hardest things, and one of the things about resolutions that don't work too, is again, the accountability. And I will tell you, that is the difference with having a coach, because you have some built-in accountability. And someone who's going to hold you to the fire, who's going to be your cheerleader, who's also going to be your drill sergeant, who's going to kick you in the butt when you need it. And some of my clients need it. Most of them are pretty good, but that's okay. But so if you don't have a coach, if you're not going that route, definitely try to find some kind of support system, a friend, somebody. And again, don't miss the piece, you guys, of preparing for the obstacles. You got to know what those are and be ready for them. And I will tell you, one of the biggest obstacles will be your darn brain. So just know that. So remember, and this was, I found this quote and I was so excited about it. Aristotle said, "We are what we repeatedly do." So again, seemingly simple, but it's all your habits every day, all day, that make the biggest difference for what's going to happen in the long run. Now, if you know you want some changes and you want to explore what it would be like to become my client, I would love for you to just either reach out to me through DM or leave a comment, and I will be happy to have a quick call and see what it might look like. I do have a group program getting ready to open up, so I've got a couple different options that I didn't have in the past, so yay. And if anybody has any questions on all of this stuff, please leave them. You know I always come back and I will ask. 39 minutes, I think I'm doing a little better. I was at 45 and I'm down a little bit. This was a big topic though. And let me know if this was helpful, you guys. If this is changing maybe how you're gonna look at what you're gonna do for your goal setting. And you guys, if you're not setting goals, you can't get mad at yourself for not achieving stuff. You gotta set the goals. You gotta start there. And let me tell you, I was never a goal setter. And never mind writing them down. What? Reverse engineering? What? That wasn't something that was part of my life. Anyway, so thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. I love seeing all of you on here. Please let me know, again, thoughts, questions, all of that fun stuff. Have a good rest of the day.